Break a leg, everyone. Hey everyone, and welcome to the City of Worcester's open mic, our first open mic as the Cultural Development Division. My name is Nikki Erskine, and Yafa Fain and I are, and the Cultural Division as a whole, are very excited to bring you Community from Home, the open mic poetry event. Tonight we are being hosted by Juan Matos, the city's Poet Laureate, and Amina Mohammed, the City of Worcester's Youth Poet Laureate. Take it away, Juan and Amina.
We are in the community reading, giving the poetry the opportunity to heal, the opportunity to share our feelings in this special time, and obviously hoping that you enjoy as much as we can this wonderful poetry reading. Tonight we will have 13 poets sharing poetry, and as always, poetry has the role in bringing people together. In this special time, we will be reading, celebrating our community, celebrating our heroes, and it's an honor for me being with you all. Amina is the youth poet laureate, and it's a pleasure for me to present her.
Hi everyone, my name is Amina Mohammed, and I am a current graduating senior at Holy Name Central Catholic High School. Next year, I'll be going to UMass Lowell to complete a major in nursing, and I am beyond grateful for you all to be joining us tonight and sharing poetry, because I just honestly think that sitting around home and you know it gets overwhelming at times, especially with like what's going on. And sometimes we just need like a few minutes to just lay back and like do something different. So this is our way of changing up like the atmosphere and stuff like that. So thank you all. And I'll pass it back over to Juan.
Thank you, Amina. At this time, we have the opportunity to present Angelina Mancini. She is a student from Worcester Academy, and she joined us tonight presenting one of her poems that she shared in the anthology Poet for a Cause. Angelina, it's a pleasure to having you here this afternoon.
Thank you, Juan. So my poem is called The Natural Order of the Universe, or El Orden Natural del Universo. And I wrote my poem in both Spanish and English, so I will read both versions tonight. So I'll start off with the Spanish version. So, El Orden Natural del Universo. Estoy de pie en la arena fría, mirando, respirando, sintiendo. Una voz me llama, suelta. Una lágrima baja mi cara. Exhalo profundamente. Caigo. Cuando me abro mis ojos, el sol brilla intensamente y la arena está caliente. El sonido de las olas está calmando. Ya veo un cangrejo que se arrastra a través del herba de la duna. Entonces una gaviota se abate y toma su presa. Este es el orden natural del universo. Camino al mar y me sumerjo mis pies. Un pez flota a la superficie y me doy cuenta de una marca de mordida. Está muerto. Este es el orden natural del universo. De repente la tierra tembló y las nubes cubrieron el cielo. Un relámpago brilló ante mis ojos. El trueno se era estrellado y era ensordecedor. Mi paraíso se había ido. No era algo que podría tener, porque este es el orden natural del universo y no es mi tiempo ahora. So that was the Spanish version, and now I will read it in English. So, the natural order of the universe. I am standing in the cold sand, watching, breathing, feeling. A voice says to me, let go. A tear rolls down my face. I exhale deeply. I fall. When I open my eyes, the sun shines brightly and the sand is hot. The sound of the waves is calming. I see a crab crawling through the dune grass. Then a seagull swoops down and claims its prey. This is the natural order of the universe. I walk to the ocean and submerge my feet. A fish floats to the surface, and I notice that there is a bite mark. It's dead. This is the natural order of the universe. Suddenly, the ground shook and clouds covered the sky. Lightning flashed before my eyes. The thunder was deafening. My paradise was gone. It was not something I could have, because this is the natural order of the universe, and now is not my time.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And next up, we have Naya.
Hi, yeah. I'm Anya Geist, so...
Oh,
it's fine.
sorry.
Just before quarantine began, I wrote my poem, Memories of School, which reflected how I, a student of Goddard Scholars Academy inside Sullivan Middle School, felt about being in 8th grade and preparing to move on, to leave the place that has been my school for 3 years. Little did I know, however, that over the coming months, my poem would take on a second meaning, as school became closed for the rest of the year. And this is my poem, Memories of School. Ask me what I think when I think about school, the little memories of how it was ours. In 6th grade, I remember, the 8th graders were so tall, we would slip by them, afraid to be seen. And in band, we laughed and grew, the cacophony of our instruments smoothing over the years until it was polished and fine. I remember the little stairway to the first floor. Its door would creak and slam, and without heating in the winter, the cold swirled around its frosty steps. We would keep the windows open all year long and poke our heads out, laughing, enjoying fresh air, until someone yelled it was too cold. And the way the bricks felt on the outside of school, sticking your hand out the window to touch the sun-warmed stone. All the small laughs, the jokes in class, leaving our memories in a building we've outgrown, will make it forever ours.
Thank you so very much, Anya, for sharing your poetry with us. Next up, let's present Ariel Lynn. She's with us this afternoon in our Community from Home reading.
Hi, so I'm Ariel. I work for the city of Worcester in my day job, but my side project is to do a spoken word every Wednesday. So I post those every Wednesday, and just fitting was also a Wednesday. So my poem is called A Humble Reminder. It can feel so alone being at home. I'm an independent woman, but I hate to be on my own with all of these anxieties and responsibilities, limited necessities, and plenty of self-doubt. Under the added weight I'm forced to bear, I'm about to crumble. My head isn't big enough for all these hats I'm supposed to wear. I've been humbled. Never again will I complain about a list of school supplies or care about whether I have 1 or 2 ply. Working from home with my son, I'll try not to be annoyed and simply be grateful I'm one of the fortunate still employed. And to my friends who check in or drop paper towels on my porch, it's like you see me burning out and you come running with a torch to relight my fire and let me know it's not just me, that we're all in this together, the Worcester Together community. That's real.
Great.
I loved it.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Kathleen Reed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a minister and a poet and the host of WCCA TV, A Journey of Words. I've written 3 books. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. Ministry keeps me grounded. Poetry helps me dream. And my family keeps real. The poem that I'm going to read is one that I wrote just a few weeks ago and finished it on Mother's Day. And it's a poem for my mother, who's in glory right now. But she was a woman that left a legacy of home. So this poem is, If I Were an Artist. Mama, if I were an artist, I would paint your hands. You tell me that your hands are old, wrinkled, and scarred. Hide them in your pockets when company comes. No, Mama, your hands are not like the woman on the ivory soap commercials. Smooth, tapered nails. Your hands scrubbed our clothes on a washboard, kneaded dough and made us homemade biscuits. Rubbed down our feverish bodies with alcohol, cradled us in your arms, cupped our face in your hands, kissed our tears, rocked us to sleep. Mama, if I were an artist, I would paint your hands like the willow that survived hurricane winds, sheltering branches of refuge, bend and not break.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Catherine, for being with us. It's really a pleasure to see you tonight again. And I always say thank you for having me in your TV program and giving the poet the opportunity to embrace people, being that bridge that all need in these wonderful and difficult times. Wonderful in the way that we are reaching to each other, to pray for each other, to send our solidarity to the one who are sick and the one are in need. In that way is wonderful, but painful, as we all know, for those one who are grieving the loved one that the Lord called open. Thank you again for being here. Next, in our poetry reading this afternoon for the community from home is poet Eve. Eve.
Hi, Juan. Hi. Okay, I've been involved in the poetry community for well over 30 years here in Worcester, with a venue for 7 years and an international anthology for many years. And I'm going to read this poem, which came out of a couple of things. I've been making face masks for Mutual Aid Worcester for the last 2 months, and I've made well over 500 masks up to now, and I'm still sewing these masks. So this came partly out of that. It's called Nightgown Transform for Jennifer. You came with old flannel sheets, tied up like a hobo's bundle, wrapped in the nightgown your mother wore the day of her stroke, the day the EMTs cut the soft cloth from her body. A Lawns of Salzburg nightgown, the traditional red stripes with white cursive streaking between rows of hearts ensconced in flowers, designed first in 1939 in Austria, migrated to America, new country, new start. The cloth laundered soft from years of comfort, I cut around the seams, the rips, remove the hem lined in lint, place my template horizontal, vertical, for the cloth mask to fight the disease, our new plague. I make one for you to keep your mother close, to remember her good days, who she was before. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Eve. Next up, we have Gabrielle.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle, and I'm a sophomore at Worcester Academy. Like Angelina's, this poem was written for an anthology that our school made, so that's the first poem I'm going to read. It's called Ode to Women of Color. Women of color are the most unprotected in the world. It makes me sad how the world treats women of color. Here, we tear down women of color and ignore women of color and hurt women of color. But women of color are the most resilient in the world. Women of color raise sons and daughters of color. Women of color teach their children how to love themselves in a world that doesn't. We need to encourage women of color, to look after women of color, to protect women of color, to embrace women of color, to love women of color. And I have a second poem that I actually wrote a couple years ago, but I think it's fitting for the time that we're in right now. And it's called Another. Another life taken, another one dead, another statistic shot in the head. Another new story, another mom crying. Why is it normal that people are dying? Was he really a threat or was he just Black? I guess we'll never know because we can never go back. Another not guilty, another excuse, another Black male just appeared in the news. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabrielle, for your poems. That poem, All to the Woman of Color, I'm going to read the Spanish version that is in the anthology, A Poet for a Cause, and goes, Las mujeres de color son las más desprotegidas del mundo. Me entristece de cómo el mundo trata a las mujeres de color. Aquí nosotros despedazamos a las mujeres de color. Ignoramos a las mujeres de color, pero las mujeres de color son las más resilientes del mundo. Las mujeres de color crían hijos e hijas de color. Las mujeres de color enseñan a sus hijos cómo amarse ellos mismos en un mundo que no lo hace. Nosotros necesitamos animar a las mujeres de color. Necesitamos cuidar a las mujeres de color, proteger a las mujeres de color, abrazar a las mujeres de color, amar a las mujeres de color. Thank you so very much, Gabrielle, for this powerful message.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. And next, it's a pleasure to introduce John Brandt this afternoon for this poetry reading community from home. John?
Hi, thank you. I'm actually a reader from England, and had it not been for the corona, I would be there now on a long extension. So I've picked one for selfish reasons. It's called Haworth Moor. And if any Bronte fans, Haworth Moor was where Wuthering Heights was. So it's about an experience I had at Haworth Moor. Primeval rocks drew solace from a lazy, ponderous sun, and the breeze tugged at her hemline as I watched her gently glide. Across the heath where Cathy's desolation was begun, and I sensed approaching danger as she lay down by my side. Unbidden, the emotions I had managed to discard, the need to touch, the need to hold, the yearning ache to cling to someone whose mere presence was magnificently warm, exposed the life I had control, sans love, sans everything. She resurrected rhapsody, restored the land cold flame from ashes I determined would in turn my need to see. Responses to my feelings, so there'd be no need to blame when the strength of love's first passion wavers, leaves the senses weak. But the fate that I had thwarted by rejecting thoughts of love, now their vengeance have exacted for a wicked, cruel glee. They've made me love and cherish her, and then their strength to prove, ensured the one I live for will never be for me. That's it.
Thank you so much, John. That was really good. So now we're going to hear from Lily. Lily?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lily. Like Angie, I am from Worcester Academy, and the poem I wrote is called Momentos, and it was originally written in Spanish, but I will read both the Spanish and the English versions. Momentos. En el 9 de abril, el sol dice su despedida final y esconde detrás de los arces en el patio. Las nubes moradas y amarillas bailan y colorean el cielo, mezclándose con los tonos de azul. Lentamente, la paleta del cielo se oscurece. Los árboles se ponen en negro. Simplemente son sombras simples, y yo veo desde el porche como el día cambia. Tengo el sentimiento que este momento es sagrado. Día a día, no tengo la energía ni el tiempo para disfrutar, notar estos momentos pequeños, momentos hermosos en la naturaleza, que son comunes, pero no son comunes al mismo tiempo. Siempre, siempre estoy trabajando, pensando, planeando, olvidé los momentos pequeños que me pasan y no los veo otra vez. En este momento agradezco estos momentos más y los noto cada noche antes de dormir. En este momento me siento sola. La ansiedad se nos cierne. Es un momento difícil para todos, pero recuerdo que la naturaleza es constante y los momentos hermosos también. And then in English. Moments. On the 9th of April, the sun says her final goodbye and hides behind the maple trees in the yard. The clouds of purple and yellow dance and paint the sky, mixing with the shades of blue. Slowly, the palette of the sky darkens. The trees turn into black, solely simple shadows, and I watch from the porch as the day changes. I have the feeling that this moment is sacred. Day to day, I don't have the energy nor the time to enjoy, to take note of these little moments, beautiful moments in nature that are common yet uncommon at the same time. Always, I am always working, thinking, planning. I forget. The insignificant moments pass me by and I do not see them again. In this moment, I feel more grateful for these moments, and I think about them every night before I sleep. In this moment, I feel alone. Anxiety looms over us. It is a difficult moment for everyone, but I remember that nature's presence will always be constant, and the beautiful moments as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Lily, for sharing such wonderful poems. And the reading both in English and Spanish is so appreciated. This is what we are reflecting this afternoon, community from home, to share our feeling, to share the way we are interpreting, and the way this time also gave us the opportunity to reflect upon simple things that but makes the difference in our life. Thank you so very much for your poetry.
Thank you, Juan.
And now I would appreciate Mandy Goodman to share with us.
Hi, I'm Mandy Gummy Gonzalez. I teach at Clark University in the Creative Writing program, and I will be reading a poem called Metrical Charm for a Shallow Wound. If someone has a shallow wound, wrap it in boiled matico leaves and speak these words into it. This charm works on heart or wing. Sit down, shallow wound. Whether of heart or wing thou comest, I see you laying your head on your hands. Nor are you shallow, though you wear the right vestments. Eat this fire and tell me from whence it comes. If it travels to the fingers of your right hand, start learning to use your left. If it travels to your left hand, someone holds it. If it rushes up your left ear, your companions are more numerous than you realized. If it rushes to your right ear, you aren't paying sufficient attention. From which direction will you be seen? Go there. When the flame coils in your gut, you are ready. This is the critical time you get to live in. All night long, fire gushes from oil to oil as it clings to the sea's pixelated face. As for light pollution, it is a charm in and of itself. Nor does the still profile of earth-churning machines console, for their jagged hands still glint when spokes rotate. When spokes rotate, so do the bodies chained there. Not even what we agree on, like water, can stir empathy. Shallow wound, all of your feelings are true, and the earth holds you even as you fall through it. And here you are, visited by the right idea. Your hair collapsed onto your face like a desert weed. Your features devolved to a gnarled mountainside. You are the grotesque edges of their dreams, a finger in a fold of sheep. You have stopped believing the many stories. All along have you been able to frighten your enemies like a folded down wasp in their seat. Learn from the snakes to whose company you've been banished. Like them, make a peaceful song. Like them, love and kill with a velvet sound. Legless, they stand. These powers were already yours, but they took to your eyes lit sticks when you emerged. Eat these bitter leaves until you shake and writhe. Eat these bitter leaves until you kneel and vomit the shame that was fed to you. Your hands are there together too, and they help each other regardless. Thank you.
All right, Mandy, thank you so much. That was really good. And next up, we have Nicole.
Hello.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, good to see you again. I'm Nicole DiCello. I own Bedlam Book Cafe, and I'm a poet too. And the poems I'm going to read tonight are actually not my original poems. They're translations of a poet that I really love, Pura Lopez Colome. She's a Mexican poet, and I did some translations of her work a few years back. So Juan is gracious enough to read the Spanish versions for me, because I'm not as confident in my Spanish accent. So I will read the English, and they're two short poems. So you can, Juan, I think you were gonna read after I read each one or something. So, okay. All right, so the first one is called Resolve. I will not be the one who makes you suffer. You won't spill tears that can extinguish you. Prize the incandescent sea of the mind. You will lay down in it, surrender to the seeping sentimentality, remembering that this world is a vile Sargasso sea. Nothing can be obscure, confronted by love, beating its wings in the ether beyond.
Spanish version. Acuerdo. No seré yo quien te haga sufrir. No derramarás lágrimas que puedan extinguirte. Guardarás el mar candente entre las sienes. Descansarás inmóvil, supurando sentimiento, recordando que este mundo es un vil mar de sargazos. La opacidad no será tal frente al amor, batiendo alas en el éter aquel.
Thank you, Juan. Ours forever. The next translation is a poem called In Praise of Death. 1. There is abundant intimacy between birds and air. They gather on the water, skimming the surface. They fight over bread, inflict damage on each other, or gaze fixedly at the inhabitants of other realms. 2. From the pier, the midpoint of my life, I saw a ray come into being. It opened like a delta, then closed, gathering brilliance each time, like a star on a luminous depth. A duck crossed that line without altering anything.
Spanish version. En alabanza de la muerte. Primer canto. ¿Qué intimidad resume entre aves y aire? Se congregan sobre el agua, apenas en la superficie, se arrebatan el pan, se hacen daño o miran fijamente al habitante de otros reinos. Segundo canto. Desde el muelle, punto medio de mi vida, vine a ser el rayo, abrirse en triángulo y cerrarse, con brillo cada vez mayores, como una estrella sobre fondo luminoso. Un pato atravesó esa línea sin que hubiera el menor cambio. Gracias. Thank you so very much for being with us, Nicole. And now I think that Susan Elizabeth is ready for us to share with us her poems this afternoon. Is Susanna?
Yes, I'm here. So I wrote poems long before I came to Worcester, but it's in Worcester that I really became a poet, I think, and it's partly because of the community of poets in Worcester. The community of poets now, the poets who came from Worcester. And I'm going to read a poem that I wrote for my sister a couple of years ago as part of the Tale of Two Cities project, which involved poems being written by poets both here in Worcester and also in our sister city in Worcestershire, England. And we wrote poems in response to each other. So I wrote this poem for my sister who died many years ago. And before I read the poem, I'll tell you her name was DJ. And she signed her name, because I mentioned this in the poem, with the letter D, like a smile, and then the J like a nose, and then the two dots for the eyes. And I thought I would read this poem partly because it's a poem about feeling connected to someone whom you can't see, which is something I think we've all experienced during the quarantine. Letters from the Moon. For my sister, after 24 years. Oh, I'm sorry, before I read it, I should also add it's a winter poem. And usually if you're a poet, you sort of want to read poems that have something to do with the season or the holiday. This poem takes place in January. Letters from the Moon. For my sister, after 24 years. 3 in the morning. Below my cold window, the snow has laid its latest sheet of paper. Already January comes again. Another year has fled since your last letter, and now you are as distant as the moon, always away from us, yet never gone. No postcards from Pompeii, no get well wishes, no thank you notes, no news about your children, not since that other blank-faced January when you wrote your last letter to the world. Not one more message in that careful script, signed with the small, brave smile of your initials. No way to let you know you are forgiven, or that I still judge tenderly of you. Instead, the silver light of January is postmarked every year. Another snow will blankly wait below our windowsills. Another page on which a word from you will not appear. But even though you're now no closer than the moon, you still are there. No letters, yet my mind can write to me whatever you would say. The moon might drift alone in space, thousands of miles from home, turning without returning, even slipping each year a few inches farther away. And yet she's here. Her light touches my hand.
Yes, she's here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Amina.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Tonya.
Yes.
Hi, Tonya.
Hi, Tonya.
Hi, everyone. I want to say that I am so happy and feel so connected, even though I'm in New York, to be with you all. And thank you, Juan, for including me. This poem has a historical epigraph. The poem is called Tezcatlipoca 2019. And the epigraph, Tezcatlipoca, Aztec lord of the north, embodied change through conflict, often depicted with a yellow and black stripe across his face, and his right foot replaced by an obsidian mirror or a snake. He could tempt humans into self-destruction. And a little note at the end, 45 refers to the presidential succession in the United States. Here's the poem. Why do you cry, little mother, sweet as the early chord? Surely your baby boy is now in Chichihuacuaco, the ancient paradise where loving trees drip milk to feed the children waiting below. There your beloved son knows hunger no more. I'm afraid, amiga, afraid my little son has turned down the wrong path, gone northward, northward to the land where the Death Keeper is king. It isn't Mictlantecuhtli, lord of the underworld, I fear, but Tezcatlipoca, heartless god of the night, yellow snake-like stripe around his head, cruel smile on his lips, horrific misshapen mirror for a foot, reflecting warped realities through smoke and mirrors. Tezcatlipoca, deceitful deity, muddles the path, darkens our way, sower of hatred, engine of lies, gleefully harvests havoc and despair, then boasts of growing strong, sucking on his brother's blood. There in the north, Tezcatlipoca resides, known now as number 45.
Thank you. Thank you, Tonya, for being with us, and thank you for attending our invitation to share your poetry in this afternoon, Community from Home. Thank you so very much. And we have the pleasure of introducing August. She is from a student from Worcester Academy who also participates in the anthology A Poem for a Cause. August?
Um, Hello. I wrote for my Spanish project an ode to the snow mountain, and it's called Ode a la Montaña Nevada. And I will read the English version first. The snowy mountain is standing in distance, but it feels like right in front of me. The white snow mountain, pure and silent, records the time, growing along with the time. Somewhere in the world, you can always find a snow mountain, observing the world, changing along with the world. The crystal-like snow condenses the wishes in the universe. Snow mountain embraces everything, cold but spreads the joy. Spring brings us flowers and green trees. Summer brings us the bright sun. Autumn brings us fruits and food, while winter brings us the white world, decorated with snow mountain. Under the sun, the snowy mountain purifies the air, energizes nature, silently with a small crack of the ice. La montaña nevada está en la distancia, pero silencio que está cerca de mí. La montaña nevada, blanca, es pura y silenciosa. Le clistra el tiempo, crece junto con el tiempo. En algún lugar del mundo, siempre se encuentra una montaña nevada. Ella observa el mundo, cambia con el mundo. La nieve de cristales condensa los deseos del universo. La montaña nevada la abraza. Está fría, pero difunde la alegría con nosotros. La primavera nos trae flores y árboles verdes. El verano nos trae el sol brillante. El otoño nos trae frutas y comida. El invierno nos trae el mundo blanco, decorado con la montaña nevada. Bajo el sol, la montaña nevada purifica el aire de energía a la naturaleza silenciosa con una pequeña grita del hielo.
All right, thank you so much, August. Now we're going to reintroduce Ariel to read a second poem for us tonight. Ariel?
Hi. So earlier somebody did a poem mentioning the moon, so I'm going to share with you one of my favorite poems. It's a short one that I wrote a while back. She offered him the moon, but he only saw the dark side, and he refused the gift. When he finally saw her shine, he was mesmerized. She was glowing. She was radiant. She was everything she had promised to be, but he had only seen the dark. So that's where she left him. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And next we're going to reintroduce, I know I'm about to butcher your name again. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, so go.
Yeah.
This is a poem called Gilmanton at Night, and Gilmanton is the town in New Hampshire where my grandparents have an old summer house, and it's just a very peaceful place, and I love it there. So I wrote this a year and a half ago or something like that, in 6th grade. The crickets chirp, sing to the starry night. The floorboards creak and moan of old age. The wallpaper stands rigid, but cracked and peeling. The motorcycles rev and talk back and forth by the road, while 2 old Volvos settle in on the grassy lot. A musty, old yet comforting smell seeps everywhere in the house. I turn over in bed to look at moonlight streaming through the gaping crack in the shade. Across the street, the antique store is boarded up, its precious relics waiting until tomorrow. The corner store is closed, sodas and water closed up, coffee makers quiet until the morning brew. Down at the pond, the bathhouse looms quietly, old green paint on the outside. Swimsuits and towels hang on racks and rooms, swaying in a soft breeze. The day's sand tracked in is leaking through the old planks on the floor, falling onto the ground beneath. The raft bobs in the pond, surrounded by dark, glistening water. Up the dirt road to Drew Farm, wild animals roam the backyard. In the attic, the lights are off. In the room at the back, mattresses, chairs, tables, and papers are left sprawled out in the middle of planning. In Airy Cottage, the lights are out. The radio, always playing orchestras, is off and quiet. And back in the little house, all the screen doors are locked. And the porch furniture stands still on the porch. This is Gilmanton at night.
All right, thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you.
Well, I think this is the moment in which I have the pleasure to introduce Youth Poet Laureate Amina Mohammed. Amina just received today her graduation, and congratulations, Amina.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure knowing this wonderful young writer and so mature and so vivid. Amina Mohammed is with us reading her poetry in tonight's Community from Home.
All right, so tonight I'm going to read to you guys a poem that I had recently written. It was actually some of the stanzas that I had did was part of a project that I had done for Recreation Worcester. So I just decided that with my spare time and being done with like schoolwork and everything else, I would finish the poem. And this poem is called I Feel It. As I walk, I feel the tingling sensation. Head shaking, body grooving to the beat. I feel the beady beady bomb bomb to Selena's harmonic tone. And even though I can't understand a word she's saying, I still feel it. Oh, how I feel it. From WizKid's Master Groove to Davido's Assurance, I feel it. And it's the unexplainable feeling. The somewhat feeling of satisfaction. The feeling that for once, I am free from all worldly troubles. I shut everything out once, and I can finally be me, Amina Mohammed, the strong, courageous, and passionate girl from the 508. The girl that grew up in the streets of Maine South. The girl that learned how to ride her first bike and braid cornrows in the streets of Queen Street. The girl that had a crush on the boy next door, and although we never told each other, I had a feeling we both felt the same way about each other. I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I feel it. Through the hot summer days of walking through Chandler Street with my cousins and taking the back routes to the mini markets, I feel it. From the bus rides through the streets of Worcester to the lovely mixture of my grandmother's jollof rice. You might not understand it, but I feel it. I feel my hips moving to the smooth melody of Keisha Cole's Love. I feel the dogs barking early in the morning to my downstairs neighbors blasting bachata at 6:30. I know I'm crazy, right? But I can hear T.I. now urging us to bring them out, bring them out. Bring out all the enriched passion that sits deep within us all.
Thank you, Amina.
No problem.
Please go ahead.
And just quickly, I will pass it on to Juan, who will be reading a poem this afternoon. Juan?
Thank you, Amina,
All right.
for that moving poem that tells a lot about us and our wonderful city of Worcester. Talking about our wonderful city of Worcester, I would like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to those heroes that I hope that after this experience, the mankind take them into account rather than the Oscar and Grammy idols. A blue carpet for heroes in blue. The Oscars and the Grammy nights are missing the idols with their triumphant smiles. There is no line or fans, nor protective bars, no stressed reporters begging for interviews. Camera crews in shock double check their lenses. They can't find anyone to shoot. There are no flashes, nor shining stars, posing in their luxurious dresses from big fashion houses and unique designs. Today, there are no designers, nor divas, nor models. Absent silhouettes walk with hasty steps, with hurried blue blurs on blue carpets, with their white masks or sweetie blue ones, fighting for lives that are lost in the shadows. Unnamed heroes without makeup or jewels, with will alone and with unyielding love, serving countless hours without looking back in emergency rooms that are dressed in glory. There are brave nurses who never go back home. There are heroes who will never, never go back home. Courageous, tireless doctors. They are simple staff members with no time for a hug. It is they who serve countless countries and cities, who deserve the music of palms, the rains of cheers, thousands of blue carpets full of goodness, the blue sky inhabited by our eternal gratitude. A blue carpet for heroes in blue.
All right. Thank you so much, Juan.
La
That
versión,
was amazing.
gracias. This is the Spanish version. Alfombras azules para héroes en azul. La tarde de los Óscares y de los premios Grammy extraña a los ídolos con sonrisas triunfantes. No hay filas de fanáticos, ni barras protectoras, ni angustiados periodistas suplicando entrevistas. Reporteros incrédulos revisan sus lentes, no encuentran objetivos. No hay destellos de fotos, ni estrellas relucientes posando sus trajes onerosos de marca registrada y de diseños únicos. Hoy no hay diseñadores, ni divas, ni modelos. Las siluetas ausentes caminan presurosas con sus azules prisas por sus azules alfombras. Batallan por la vida que se pierde en las sombras. Son los héroes sin nombre, sin maquillaje, sin joyas, solo con voluntad y amor desmesurado. Sirven horas continuas de espaldas al pasado en cuartos de emergencia que se visten de gloria. Son bravías enfermeras sin regreso a la casa. Son bravíos enfermeros sin regreso a sus casas. Son doctores audaces, sin hambre ni descanso, son simples empleados, sin tiempo para abrazos. Son ellos, servidores de pueblos y ciudades, que merecen la lluvia del aplauso, 1000 alfombras cubiertas de bondades, el cielo azul poblado de nuestra gratitud. Alfombras azules para héroes en azul. Thank you so very much for each of one of you being with us tonight at Community Reading from Home. And thank you to Nikki and Yafa and the Department of Cultural Department for assembling this reading for our community. Thank you for the students and poets for sharing their wonderful poems with in this special time with all of us. It's been a pleasure having you all here.
And I would also like to thank you all for being here. I would also like to make a quick correction because I had stated before that the poem I had read was a poem that the stanzas were created for Recreation of Worcester. It was actually a technical difficulty and mix up with a couple of things. That poem was a poem I had actually written a while back. That wasn't like the poem that I did for Recreation Worcester. And that one is to be determined when I'll release it on Facebook or not. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But I would also, as Juan said, like to thank you all for being here today. I know it's been a lot, and for you to take your time out this evening and be here, and obviously to all of you that were able to share your poetry, and I think that was amazing. So thank you guys all for that. And thank you to Nikki and Yafla for putting this together. Round of applause for you guys.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, to all of the poets who shared their moving works with us tonight, and especially to Juan and Amina for hosting Community from Home. For anyone interested in joining a future open mic, please email culture@worcesterma.gov. Thank you again. Stay safe and have a fantastic night.
All right.
Wonderful.
Bye.